Hi everyone, it's time for another weekly preview. It's Tuesday 25th of October, so looking forward to the weekend of the 29th and 30th. Although I have to say, I wonder what I'm going to talk about. There ain't much going on, to be honest. We've got, locally, we've got quite a big day on Saturday. We're hosting a Kent Cross Country League, which, best part 500, 600 people running across all the age groups. At the schools at Summerhill, which is, to a lot of people's mind, one of the best cross-country courses in terms of scenery and challenge, certainly in Kent, and people do seem to enjoy it. So looking forward to that. If the weather's nice, it seems to be carrying on quite warm throughout the week. Kent Cross Country League, but I don't think there's many other leagues going on this weekend. It seems that a lot of them seem to be around the 12th of November. The Kent seem to want to get their fixtures out of the way before Christmas generally, certainly for the younger age groups, because there's a lot after Christmas. So I've had a scout round, I've looked at Para 10, not so good to look forward on Para 10 for fixtures at the moment for some reason, don't know why. So it's very difficult to see what's going on. We've got a Frankfurt Marathon on Sunday in Germany, one of the big marathons going on, but again, no particular knowledge of elites or Brits competing that I can see on their website. But then the week after, there's the New York Marathon, one of the majors around the world. One race I would draw attention to on Saturday is the Podium 5K road race, which is at Barrowford in Lancashire. It might well be on the Fast Running Facebook Live or Instagram account. First race at 6 p.m. I think it's back to basics for Podium, and Chris Barnes, the organiser. I think it's turn up, sign up and run and crack on. But you will probably see some fast times there. Very popular event. So I thought, well, what am I going to talk about other than a lack of races for previewing? And I thought, well, I'll just let you know, some of the guys in our training group have launched a YouTube channel. They want to make it a series. It's called Inside Tonbridge. So a few snippets from training sessions that the group do, a few little interviews and things like that. It'd be interesting to see how it develops. Quite like that when the younger generation get involved in something like that. I'm not against it. Don't think they're giving any secrets away or anything. Hopefully you see what we get up to, how we operate, and it might be of interest to some people, and it's giving them a little bit of a buzz. So good luck to them with that. But having watched their first episode, it made me think a little bit about what they're trying to achieve and what the culture is of a training group. And I've written down a few pointers here that I watch out for, and I try and jump on if anyone wants to try and break the so-called rules, if you like, because you've got to have a good culture. First thing is, I expect people to be on time for training. We operate in a way that we say 6:15 meeting. If everyone's there, we'll start the warm-up, but we won't start the warm-up later than 6:30. And if you're going to be a bit late, you give me a message to let me know you're held up, and I'll have some dialogue with the group that's there and decide what to do. It basically, I try and operate, if you're on time, you're late, basically. So expect people to be in places when they say that, when it's arranged, and be ready to crack on, not saunter up at say 6:30 and stroll across whilst the rest of the group are itching to get going with their warm-up. So that's one aspect, quite strict on. I rely on, like all coaches, on really good communication from individuals within the training group. Who's coming to training, if they've got any issues, how they feel, is it physically, mentally, confidence low, what the aims are from the session, where we think they should pitch it, who they might be training with, all these sorts of things. So good communication is great. I don't think there's many coaches that treat it as being an interruption or a nuisance if an athlete is communicating regularly and well. I think that's what we all embrace. So good communication is the second one. Third one, I do watch for who leaves their egos at home, and that covers a manner of things. Firstly, I think this sport is it's not like a team sport. You can't hide, particularly if you get too cocky. It's going to come back and bite you at a certain point. I think also in terms of training, if you're not up to it that particular night, then drop your pace back a little bit, make adjustments, talk to the coach, whatever it might be. I think somebody said it actually. It's good to leave the ego at home, and you might enjoy the session running in another group rather than the front group or whatever you normally run in. So, yeah, leave the ego at home is the third one. I think you also have to take seriously, if you're working full time, the impact that can have. Stresses of normal life, working life, lifestyle, or whatever can have an impact on how you train. You've got to be honest with yourselves on that, and not always expect to be 100% at your best on top form. Obviously, when training with a training group, I think mutual support is key. That might be sharing the pacing in reps. It might just be giving somebody a pat on the back, a word of encouragement, having a chat with them about how they feel. I think the power of the athlete within a group is just as much as the coach has. In fact, little comments from your peers can really, really help add to the training group environment. So ask yourself what you can do for others before you come along. And I'll come on to that in something else associated with that in a second. So clearly we don't want any swearing going on, mixed age group perhaps, male, females, it's unnecessary, don't like swearing. So I have to give the odd warning on that out there, especially if you're in a club environment. Arguments going on within the group, adding to stresses, do without that. So you have to really watch for anything like that. I'm very, very lucky at the moment, I must say. I've got extremely good group in that respect, very mutually supportive of each other, very aware of each other, and very aware of each other's personalities, characteristics, and I've got very little tension at all between any of them, so as far as I know. But so that is really, really good. And if you're an athlete in a group, that can make a big difference to a coach. Also, negativity. Quiet words with the coach, fine. If you're feeling negative or lacking confidence, fine, but don't need to voice it to everybody. Last Friday, it was pouring down with rain, blowing a gale. Very difficult to get up for a session like that, and it makes it even worse if people are being negative about it. We're not going to go home. We're not going to, reduce the session because the weather is a bit tough. We're just going to crack on, and it really helps if people can lift each other. And I think athletes don't often realise coaches are putting on an act. We have to come fully armed with positivity. We can't be there moaning and groaning and feeling down ourselves, even if we might really not want to be there, which is very rarely the case, to be honest, with most coaches, because they love it, whatever. One of my mottos is, it's not a grind, it's a privilege to be out there, being able to run. If you're old and knackered like myself, I think you prefer to be out there running around the track and pushing yourself than standing there with knackered knees or whatever. So it's a privilege to be young and able to do it, or even old and able to do it. So make the most of it. And I think that is some of the key things that I talk about with our group, and it makes for a good working environment, and I hope it continues. It's going to be really interesting to see whether the Inside Tonbridge YouTube channel develops or even can remain consistent, because I know it can take a lot of time putting those things together. But hope that's of interest to some of you, and look forward to hearing what any of you think about the videos they might put out. See you soon.